This is Quick Take. I'm Scarlet with Madison Mills. It is tax season in the U.S., and with 2021 being a fairly unusual year for most of us, we thought it was the perfect time to invite Marcia Mantell back to Quick Take. Marcia runs her own retirement consultancy. She is also the author of how-to books motivating women to take the initiative on retirement planning. Marcia, always good to see you. Getting ready for tax season usually means getting all your documents in order. So quickly walk us through what that should look like.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me back. Organization is the key word for Q1. Absolutely. You need your W-2s, your 1099s, anything from a bank, a financial institution, a brokerage house, anything that you've got there, plus things like charitable donations that you made during 2021.
So, Marcia, how do you decide when to go about, logging on to TurboTax yourself and going through this arduous process versus getting an accountant and having to pay a little money but potentially getting a bigger return? What does that calculation look like?
Well, the more complex or sophisticated your tax situation is, the more you probably need some outside expertise. Or if you're a small business, running a small business, you probably have an accountant anyway. So bundle together your personal and your business taxes. But Maddie, I'll tell you, if you're young and getting started at this, the best way to start to learn the important pieces is to hop on TurboTax or H&R Block or Tax Slayer. Get in there, get your hands wet a little bit and start to see what this is all about when it's easier.
That's exactly what she did not want to hear. She wanted you to give her permission to hire someone, yes. As do all of us. I mean, hiring someone would allow you to ask questions like, oh, can I deduct, I don't know, my subscription to the New York Times from my income, reportable income? What about if I worked from home? Can I deduct something like that? How do we think through those questions?
They're excellent questions. They're exactly what you should be asking, and you Google them. So look at the IRS publication for the 1040, the instructions.
Oh, no, not
it's
that.
It's all out there, and if you just, you have to read a bit, but read something on your phone about the exact topics. And work from home is a great one this year for 2021. If you're an employee of a company and you just happen to be working from home, that's not deductible stuff. You have to be running an actual business and working exclusively from that area in your home. So setting up, your work computer on your kitchen table probably isn't going to cut it.
Okay, well, this leads me to the question of auditing, which obviously we all want to avoid. I know from you, Marcia, that the IRS is short on resources. What can we do to, ensure that we don't get audited, and what's the likelihood of that happening?
Well, the likelihood, here's good news, Maddie, it's extremely low. And you really have to have an unusual situation for the most part. So audits come about when the algorithms that the IRS is using see wild swings in tax behavior. So you made $10,000 in 2020 and $1 million in 2021. You could see where that might, pique interest. It usually is the small businesses, though, that get audited. But to give you some numbers, I took a look. In 2020, only 500,000 audits were done, but the tax returns about 154 million. Wow. So I wouldn't be overly concerned. Just report all your income and do it correctly, and you'll be fine.
Okay, so if you take the straightforward approach, you should be in good shape. Having said that, 2021 was a really weird year. So Maddie, this is another reason why maybe you could look into hiring an accountant. I mean, if someone got stimulus or someone got jobless benefits, is that something that now is part of your income that you need to pay taxes on?
Yes and no. So if you received unemployment insurance because you were laid off or hit with a unemployment situation, unemployment insurance is taxable income. And it's very clear on the instructions for your 1040. But the stimulus check, there was a third check delivered in 2021, or if you had the advanced child credit payments, those are not considered taxable income. They work differently. And what you'll get is a letter from the IRS saying, this is how much you received. We know you received it, but it's not taxable income.
Let's talk timeline here. Should you be aiming to file by April 15th, file for an extension, and what are the benefits and drawbacks to each of those? I'm always typically late for everything, so I love the idea of an extension, but I feel like that's a bad thing.
I'm glad you're feeling like it's a bad thing. So if you're my children, they already got their text today saying TurboTax starts charging after February 15th.
Wow.
You might want to hop on your tax returns, girls. So my kids are cheap. You know, they work hard, they earn their money, and they don't like to spend it on unnecessary things. So the free stuff is now. Hop online, you get your state and federal free when you file early. And Maddie, I have to tell you, it does not take that long. I have a tip from my older daughter. She's the poor grad student. Use 2 of the free online services. Pick any 2. So long as they're IRS approved, you're fine. Load in your data in 2 different sets, 2 different data software, and see if they match. And if they don't, that's when you might need to talk to someone. But there are a lot of free resources out there for you to talk to.
You taught your daughters well, Marcia. What happens if you get your salary paid, or at least part of it paid in Bitcoin? How do you manage through that part of it when you're reporting income and getting ready to file your taxes?
I just thought that was a great question. You know, Bitcoin started out as essentially in the investment categories, you know, like property or like investment. So, you know, you bought and sold Bitcoin and you had capital gains and losses. But now some employers have started to pay in this virtual currency. But if that's the case, it's still a W-2 reported piece of your income. So you see the valuation on the day that the salary was awarded to you on your W-2.
Oh, interesting.
Very good to know.
Yeah, so it's just regular. It's just like being paid cash or getting a direct deposit from your employer. It's just now in virtual currency.
So interesting. The world is constantly changing, Marcia. Final quick question for you. What is like the big piece of advice that you would give any of our viewers listening about how to handle their taxes? Is it just be early and be on top of it?
And file an e version, something electronic. And part of the reason for doing things early, Maddie, is to also make sure that your data, your social security number, is attached to you. And it helps avoid some of the fraud that we know we're going to hear about later in the tax season.
Really? So if you are a procrastinator like I am, I will fully confess to waiting until October to do anything. The chances of your identity being stolen or your social security number being used in a fraudulent way increases?
It does increase.
Wow.
Yes, that's what the data have shown. It's the procrastinators who are leaving some windows open that are better closed early.
Well, now I understand why I am a target for identity theft, Marcia. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, for your insights, helping us be better at our finances every day. Marcia, thank you so much. Thanks for watching Bloomberg Quicktake Now. Subscribe to our channel to see the biggest stories the moment they happen from around the world. And tune into our 24/7 live stream for global news coverage, interviews, deep dives, shows, and documentaries on the stories you care about most.